All right, welcome into Market Day Report. I am Scott Shellady, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. As we move up on the noon hour here, Central Time, let's just see what these markets is. In a noon balloon or a noon swoon, or really nothing going on? We'll take a look. How about corn? Let's bring up that board and we'll see what we've got going on. July's off 3.5 cents. 4.45 3/4 is last, a penny and a quarter off the low of the day, and we've had about a 5.5 cent range. So not too much more than we've seen there already. Deese is off 4.25 cents to 4.68 and a half. That's a penny off the low, and we've had about a 6-cent range over there. So the penny off the low of a 6-cent range really kind of explains it all. But the price, that's 4.68 and a half, and that's the new crop Deese and corn. Moving over to the beans. Oh, we got a 20-cent sell-off, that's for sure. July's off 20.25 cents to 11.61 3/4. The good news is we have been 3 cents lower than this, right? And we've got a decent range over there today of about 25 cents. So we're 3 cents off the low of a 25-cent range. That explains it all, doesn't it? That's July. The price is 11.61 and a half. Moving over to the Novi, that's down 19 3/4 cents. That's the new crop. 11.58 1/4 is last, and that's 2 1/4 cents off of its low. From the beans, let's go to the wheat in Chicago. That's down 5 3/4 cents in the July. 6.02 3/4 is last, well off the lows of about 7 1/4 cents. We've got a Deese board, Chicago wheat. Deese 6 3/4 cents lower there to 6.48 1/4, and that too is about 4 cents off the low there, and about 6 cents off the highs. All right, that's wheat in Chicago. From Chicago, we go to the hard red wheat in Kansas City. That's down 14 cents in July. 6.36 and a half is last. 3.5 cents off the low of the day. Well, I guess I'm going to call that 15 cents off the high, roughly 14 3/4 cents off the high. Moving over to the Deese, that's 13.5 cents lower there to 6.68, 3.5 cents off the low, and almost 13 cents off the highs. That's hard red in Kansas City. From there, let's go to Minneapolis and take a look at the spring wheat. It's down. Obviously, July is down 3 cents to 7.04 3/4. And I'm going to call that a 4.5 cents off of the low of the day, and about 2 cents, 2 and a bit cents from the high. Deese is down 4 3/4 cents to 7.22 1/4. There you go. Finally, cotton. This is one you have to kind of turn your head and hold your nose. 304 points lower than that July contract. 78.48 last, 45 points from the low. Deese is down 132 points to 76.93. All right, let's bring them in. Let's bring in our next guest analyst. It's Tommy Grafi with Advanced Trading, all the way from Valparaiso, Indiana. Tommy, thanks for being on. All right, what's up? What say you?
Well, the outside markets, we had that number at 7:30. That really rocked things, and that got things started. I have a quote board. I do not have a single thing I'm watching that is up on the quote board, unless you want to say that interest rates are up. But when you talk in bond terms, the bond market's on the low. So everything's down. Seeing big losses in gold, seeing losses in a lot of things. Didn't like the, you want to talk about what happened at Columbia University last night, or is that we're not allowed to do that? Whatever. I have a godson who's at Columbia, and he's texting me pictures at 12:01 at night, and that's not good for America, right? So we have election about 180 some days away. We came out with some rules on meats. We'll talk about that in the meat segment, but that's not good for confidence. You and I are going to talk about that on Cow Guy Close. So when you wrap up the whole world and look at it, I got to tell everyone, I'm going to get some hate mail for this. Rain makes grain. So there are people watching your show who can't get in the fields right now. They think I'm an idiot. I may be an idiot, but corn is down 4, beans are down 20, and wheat's down 10. I may be the stupid one, but I'm not arguing with myself that their drought monitor map is going to be completely erased in the next 10 to 14 days. And historically, when we go in with that much moisture, we can produce a massive amount of bushels. And what you're seeing in cotton and other things with that front month July cotton down is that there's too much old crop. On a side note of just rambling, cocoa finally came off 27% off the high. Cocoa has lost 1/4 of its value in the last 48 hours. Now, granted, it quadrupled in price, so it could lose another of that and just get back down to normal. Copper came off. Dr. Copper was really on a good run. We're seeing wheats come off. Of all the markets, I'm most impressed with spring wheat. It's going down the least. You see beans down 20 as we end April. We're getting to the end. Today is the last day of April. So we are, let's count them off. January, February, March, April. I don't have to take off my shoes. We're about a third of the way through the year, Scotty, and prices are collapsing at the end of the month. I'm just going to keep rambling until we go on break because I don't even want anyone to even look at you or see you or hear from you until we go on commercial break. In all honesty,
you wouldn't need to take your shoes off because you've got a hoof. You don't have any toes.
what I want to tell you, these are the prices of the first 4 months of the year. You could argue with them if you want. And here's what I'll argue with you. You spent an incredible amount of money storing a depreciating asset. Let's take a commercial break while we still can get some people who want to pay for ads before I come back and
All
tell them
right,
about the meats.
we're going to go away. We're going to take his advice. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Tommy Grafi right after this. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about live cattle. I should have that pulled up so we can pull it up behind my head. There it is. Sorry about that, guys. Let's take a look and see what these prices are. We'll jump right into June. It's off $2.70 to $174.45. Now $174.42, 15 cents off the low of the day. We've had about a $2.30 range too, so that's legit. We're $3 lower, $3.02 lower in the October to $176.72. How about feeders? Now they were lower as well. Ooh, we've turned a little bit lower than we were the last time, that's for sure. We got a May board down $3.62 to $244.40. But if you go out to even August, 1 month lower, $4.52 lower there to $255.10. That's 17 cents off the low of the day out there. So feeder cattle taking it on the chin as we speak. Lean hogs were mixed the last time we looked, and now they're just a little bit easier, right? Can't take the pressure. May's off 22 cents to 93.80. That's just, I'm going to call that 27 cents from the low there, and we're off about 40 cents in July to 105.05, and that too is about 15 cents from the low. Let's bring in Tommy Grafi, bring him back in. We got 60 seconds, Tommy. They just told me in my ear. What are your thoughts here?
I could fill all that up in another 60. Well, good. It's good that Suzanne's back. That's what people should be excited about. She's going to make us all feel better with the feel-good story after I get done telling you about the massacre here in meats. This selling is so much fear-driven, money-driven. As we look over, the Dow Jones is down 415. Scotty, I feel like there's cracks. And you on the Cow Guy have been telling people there's cracks in this economy. I think they think you're crazy because you wear a cow coat. But you had that bank fail on Friday, and all of a sudden, an hour later, someone else bought them. When banks start to fail and interest rates stay elevated for longer, we could be going into a massive stagflation environment. And the cattlemen and the hog producer have huge cost in producing a pound of pork or a pound of beef. I'm extremely concerned with that. They're going to get the average house mom worried. Is their food safe? Let's check back in at 1:20. You and I will be on the Cow Guy, and we'll break it all down for people.
Now, you're right. I mean, that bank failed on Friday afternoon. It was taken over by Saturday morning. But I think I'm one of the only people that covered it. I mean, everybody else said no big deal, but it is a big deal. And with these interest rates staying where they're staying, they're not going to cut them. They're not going to raise them. Probably won't raise them. Maybe they could. But and everybody's been saying higher for longer. It's not higher for longer, Tommy. It's more normal for longer because this is where we've been. The 10-year yield today, not the 10-year yield, the Fed funds rate of 5.25 to 5.5. If you go back 50 years, the average is 5.42. I mean, so this is average.
Yes, we were using a lot of money back then. I just want to go on record and say the Federal Reserve could have cost this President Joe Biden, this election. Yeah. We may look back at history and say the Fed couldn't get things under control, cost them the election. Back to you.
Maybe. All right. Thanks for that. We're going to go away. That's it for us. I guess we're going to leave you to it. Go upstairs and see if Mom's got the grilled cheese and tomato soup ready.
That sounds really good, actually. Thank you, Scott.